We've looked at voicing triads and voicing seventh chords. Now let's look at substitutions and altered chords. So that is to say, when you have a triad, like a C, you want to begin by playing this default voicing and learning it, of course, but there's a lot of places to go from there, especially if you're playing in a contemporary style. There are a number of things, a number of ways that you can alter the chord to make it distinct. So the first kind of general category would be moving the third, or altering the third in some way. So here's the short version. If I have a triad, a C chord, there's a couple different things I can do with that. One is that I can move the third to the second and make it what's called a sus2 chord. This is a really effective chord for a number of reasons. First of all, look at this voicing here. You can see here that this chord now is made up of consecutive fifths, which is a really nice open sound. It avoids the third entirely. And it fits well in something that's clean when you want to have rhythmic drive, but you don't want to have a lot of muddiness. The other thing that you can do is you can remove the third entirely and just play an open fifth. So this would be a C5 or C no 3. So you can see right away how this kind of a sound is going to be really effective in a contemporary style. So if I'm going to have if I'm given a C chord, I'll probably play it like this. Emphasizing the C sus2. The next thing that I can do with the third is I can leave it where it is, but I can add the second to go along with it. So for example, this would be a C chord, this would be a C add 2. You notice I took it off the root, but I wouldn't have to. I could leave it on. A C add 2. This is more of kind of a pop sound, a ballad sort of style. I can add the 2 with a triad or with a seventh chord. So let's take, for example, let's take a D minor 7 chord. A D minor 7 chord would be this, and I can add this. So D minor 7 chord, I'd now play. And it gives it a nice full feel. I can also do it with major 7 chords. So here is an E major 7 chord. I could play it like that, I could play it like this. Or let's try, so now let's try add the 2. Let's go to a C sharp minor 7 chord with an added 2. The next thing that we can do is we can take the 5 chord in any key and we can make it a 5 sus4 or a 5 add 4. Let me show you what I mean by that. If I'm in the key of C, the most obvious example, a 5 chord would be a G. So if I'm given a G, I can play this, or I can alter my third. I can move my third to my fourth, like this. This would be a G sus4. Sus4 means that I'm playing instead of the third of the chord, I make it a fourth. So I'll often do that with a 5 chord in any key. I can also do this, a 5 add 4, and that would be where I would play both the 5 chord with the 4. So that's a really crunchy sound, but it fits really well in the style. It adds a lot of richness of sound without really getting too muddy. So just as an example, let's just review these couple things. If I'm in the key of D, if I'm going to play a D chord, why don't you go ahead and try it? Make it a D sus2. A D sus2 would be like this. You could also play a D5 or a D no 3, which would just be open like this. If I'm in the key of D, I could also make it an added 2 chord. Let's make a D add 2. last thing that we can do in the key of D, as we said, is we can take the 5 chord, which in the key of D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, would be an A chord. So if I'm playing along in the key of D, there's a 1 chord, here's a 5, there's a 5 chord, but let's make it a 5 sus4. So there's my chord, not A, but A sus. Back to D. Now make it a 5 add 4.